Hey everybody of YouTube, this is Star Wars Expanded Expert Channel coming to you with another episode of Star Wars Expertise. Uh, on today's episode, we're gonna be counting down the top 5 Star Wars characters of all time. This includes Canon, Legends, the TV shows, video games, the top 5. Okay. So this will be going down so from 5 to 1. So number 5 got Boba Fett. Cuz let's be honest, when people think of Star Wars, they automatically tend to think of Boba Fett. And nothing screams Star Wars more than this mysterious masked Mandalorian bounty hunter from the planet Mandalore. Okay, so, the reason why he's so great is with 4 lines of dialogue and a badass looking suit of armor. He's one of the best looking and most well scripted villain in movie history. He was the reason that Han Solo was captured, one of the biggest plot points in the movies. Everybody praises Jango Fett, yet he was like a remake basically of Boba Fett since the prequels came after the originals. And like Boba Fett never really, Jango never really did anything besides fight people. He killed like some lame secondary characters and stuff. Boba probably would have done that too, but like given that there was like only one Jedi in the OT, Jango couldn't even take down a young Obi-Wan. Boba stood up to Darth Vader, made a pretty good reputation for himself. His death scene was pretty bullshit though. He's just a great character. His emotional quality is big because he grew up without a father and wants to take revenge for his father's death. And like he's mysterious and stuff and doesn't speak much, and we don't know too much about his backstory, which is good, but you can just see the hate in his eyes. And like Boba Fett is like one of the most iconic movie characters of all time. Like people say he doesn't do anything, and like people only like him because he looks cool, but Boba Fett has an emotional background. Watching his father die at the hands of a Jedi is really sad, and that he doesn't do anything. He was part of an elite group of bounty hunters to track down Han Solo, for fuck's sake. He might be the greatest movie character of all time, considering his words spoken to awesomeness value. And if you remember the canon, like, he survived the Sarlacc pit. Okay, number 4, got Darth Maul. I personally think that Darth Maul might be the greatest character George Lucas ever came up with, okay? But because he's not in the movies that much, it's hard for me to put him at number 1, so put him at number 4, and I think he greatly deserves this spot on my list, okay? Darth Maul is acrobatic, he's an assassin, he's got a badass double-bladed lightsaber, and he can use the Force. He's everything a great Sith needs in one single package, and maybe even more. He was trained by Darth Sidious, who just so happens to train Darth Vader after Darth Maul's death and killed Qui-Gon Jinn. Who just happens to have the apprentice of Obi-Wan Kenobi, who trains Anakin / Darth Vader. I wish that he came back with cybernetic legs like he did in the animated series of Clone Wars, even though I personally thought that the fact that he came back to life in this series is kind of stupid and sort of kills a part of Star Wars for me. Like, besides that, he's awesome. He could come back in episode 8 or 9, I guess, but the audience probably won't understand how he survived the Obi-Wan killing him. So that he got new legs. He grew new legs back, because I don't think many people have watched the TV show. Okay, so next up on my list, we've got Qui-Gon Jinn. See, I honestly do not think episode 1 was awful. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I think it was quite good, in fact. Maybe even better than Empire Strikes Back, which is my fourth favorite Star Wars movie. And the best thing about it was Qui-Gon Jinn, like, hands down. He may be my favorite character of all time. He's in the best Star Wars movie, along with Jar Jar Binks. Qui-Gon is like one of those characters. I know Jar Jar Binks is annoying, but we gotta think about the fact that George Lucas revolutionized cinema history by having the first CG character, complete CG character in a live action film, which I think is a fact that's underlooked these days. Qui-Gon is one of those characters you could take him out of the movie, and in the later movies, darkness would win. He discovered the chosen one. He kind of plays by his own rules. Without him, Luke would never have been trained to be a Jedi, because without Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan would never have been trained, and if Obi-Wan was never trained, then Luke would never have been trained. So Qui-Gon is the key to all this. Okay, moving on in my list. Number 2, we've got Darth Raven, who is a character from the EU. So, Darth Raven was the only Force user to have equal mastery over both the light and dark sides of the Force. The rule of 2 is based on Darth Bane's interpretation of his teachings. He never actually became a Jedi Master, yet tore through the Star Forge's defenses like nothing. Like, technically as a Padawan, but, like, this is why the Jedi are morons. While other Jedi could barely hold their ground against them, he's, like, even better than Darth Vader. Okay, number 1 on my list is... Okay, I'll do a bit of a countdown here. Captain Panaka. Okay. My choice for number 1 might be a little controversial, but bear with me now, because Captain Panaka, if you read the EU, he's one of the most underrated Star Wars characters of all time. Okay, and if George Lucas was smart, he would put him in episode 9. We could bring him back, and he could be in more Star Wars movies. And the reason why he's so great, I'm about to tell you. Well, his full name is Captain Quash Panaka, and he was born on Naboo, but was educated off-world in several guilds specializing in threat analysis and personal combat. Panaka's education was broad, designed to give him the full spectrum of knowledge and training he would need to become an effective security chief. In his education, he traveled to Tolan and was given instruction from a Zabrak in the Trackers Guild. He later joined a Republic Special Task Force and gained combat experience against pirates. This experience and education served him in good stead upon his return to Naboo and subsequent enlistment in the Royal Naboo Security Forces. While he was off-world, his older sister was killed during a training exercise. So to deal with his grief, Panaka became increasingly dedicated to his job and to serving the current monarch, King Os Veruna. He served then Captain Maris Magneta as a lieutenant and was paired with Sergeant Bialy. He was not known for being sociable, a character trait which he would exhibit throughout his life, because he was always a bit more focused on being the consummate professional. He's a great character, okay? He was constantly working to improve the security force, and he actually invented the liquid cable grappling hook shooter that became standard amongst his colleagues' weapons. In 36 years before the Battle of Yavin, Panaka and Bialy were charged with bringing in a Gungan, Krok Muddum, who had apparently been causing trouble in Portlandian. The pair concerned that Muddum at the Portlandian perfumery that while Panaka waited to ambush his target in the store cellar, Bialy went upstairs to confront the Gungan. The lieutenant heard blaster shots ring out before Mudboom burst into the room. Panaka fought with the Gungan, trying to prevent him from escaping the perfumery. He was successful in subduing the target, although he sustained several injuries to his face in the process. During a diplomatic mission to Coruscant in 32 BBY, Panaka and other members of the Royal Naboo security forces were fired upon an unknown attacker. Panaka eventually was promoted to the commander of the Empire and tasked with leading an expedition to the uncharted planet of PL40112CE021105 of the Salfram system in the waste region of wild space, and it was during this expedition that he met with Bertroff Hissa, a human Sephi hybrid, and also went into a forced alliance with the near humans of the planet to drive off an invasion of interdimensional Rosans. Panaka was the only survivor of the conflict, and he then fought against prejudiced peers until he himself was promoted to Moth of the Kamal sector. Okay, so those are my top 5 Star Wars characters. Let me know your top 5 Star Wars characters in the comments below, and like and subscribe to this channel for more Star Wars facts. And as always, may the Force be with you. And actually Yoda should have been on this list.